Hey guys, today we're looking at a more budget orientated motherboard for AM5. This is the B650M Gaming Plus from MSI. Currently sells for around £139, so actually an affordable motherboard in terms of today's standards, and actually has some features that you'd see on more expensive ones as well, which is nice. Now this is an M-ATX, so I'll tell you about my plans for it with its more compact size as we go, but for now let's get inside the box. So this board I think is a fairly new launch. I don't remember seeing it when they first launched their B650 boards, so it's nice to see that they are bringing out new ones, especially at this kind of price point as well. Generally for a budget board you'd see no real heat sinks or attention to aesthetics. It's more just like the raw board and then some minimal cooling and things like that, but it's nice to see we have got some little nice touches of accents of colour and things on there as well. So this board is currently selling for, like I said in the intro, £139 on Scan Computers UK. If you're not familiar with them, they are a leading UK retailer selling all sorts of different components. They also have some 3XS pre-built systems, pro audio video gear, also guitars and instruments and things. I'll link them down below if you want to check them out. They kindly sent this out for me to do a build in the future with. I'm actually going to revisit my Asus AP201 and do a build in that. I'm not going to give too much away yet, but I'm hoping that this will take some more powerful components, because it's going to be certainly different to the one I did before, that's for sure. This little box here, I'm guessing we have some Wi-Fi antennas. Yep, standard one, not a magnetic one, but again, budget themed, so there are going to be some cutbacks in certain places. So let's get this out, see what we've got below. Again, I'm not expecting too much. Have an M.2 lock, so if you want to add another M.2, some instructions. It seems that there's another one of those locks, or is that just a screw? Another locking one, that's good. And then also a single SATA cable, one right angled end. So nothing really to talk about in terms of in the box. So first impressions of the B650M, very green kind of aesthetic going to this board, which is generally a colour we don't see. It's kind of a mix between cyan and green, actually, to be fair. It's going to be a Marmite thing, you're going to love it or you hate it. But it is nice that you have a board of this value that has a little bit more visual appeal. There is a board, I think that's around £100 that they offer at this B650, and it's very stripped back, very bare. And this one does add a little bit of more aesthetic touch. And also, as you can see, very beefy heatsink for the VRM. So you're going to get some nice cooling, and also a board that looks a little bit better, especially if you've got a windowed side panel as well. Let's take a look around the board. So at the very top left, we've got our two 8-pin EPS connectors for power. If you're running a lower power CPU, you'd likely be able to get away with just one of these, but definitely add two if you're going to be running something that's a little bit more powerful. We've got a pump fan just to the right of the heatsink. Then we've also got our first system fan. Below, we've also got a CPU fan header as well. We've got a 5-volt addressable header for RGB, then a standard 12-volt. There's the easy debug LEDs just on the right hand side above the 24 pin. Nice and easy to be able to tell what's going on with the system when it posts. Of course, we've got a 24 pin for power. We've got a USB Type-C port. This is USB 3.2 Gen 2. And then going along on the right angle, we've got a USB 3 header. This is USB 3.2 Gen 1. We've got a couple of SATAs on the right angle. And then if we go back flat, there's a couple more that come straight out from the board. We're seeing a lot of reductions in SATA connections on the board now, as a lot of NVMe is just really great price to performance. So only 4 on this one. If you need any more, you can obviously add a controller in. We've got our front panel connections here, which is a JFP1. We've got 2 USB 2 headers, so perfect for anything that needs a controller. A lot of RGB stuff uses that still, so that's good to have. We've got another system fan header there, which is 3. There's another one which I'll tell you about in a second. Then going along, we've got another addressable 5-volt connector, then another standard 12-volt. We've got the front panel audio on the far left, CMOS battery just above that. And then there's also a system fan header 2, which is just below our rear I/O for audio. That's a total of 5 4-pin headers on this board, so you've got 3 for fans, the CPU, and also a pump or AIO. So AM5 socket. In MSI's words, this has also got a 10+2+1 dual rail power system VRM design. And of course, we've got our DDR5 slots. This will support up to 192 gigabytes of DDR5, up to 7200 megatransfers per second. We'll support AMD Expo as well, but of course you can go higher if you want to do it manually. So let's look at our sockets and slots. We've got a couple of PCIe Gen 4 NVMe slots on this board. So taking that off, we've got a nice quick release latch in there as well, so you can just easily install your M.2s. Thermal pad, don't forget to remove the tape when you actually install your M.2 drive. That will go in the left hand side, so it'll be actually upside down to what you generally install it. Then the second one is going to be the same again. Then that will support up to another 80mm drive. So Support for 2 NVMe's on this board, both up to 80mm long and at Gen 4 speeds. So for our PCIe X16 slot, this is a Gen 4 speeds. Also they call it a fortified slot, aka armoured. So that's a nice rigid slot, stronger than the usual ones. We've also got a couple of X1 slots there as well if you're using any capture cards or sound cards. So to the side of the board for the rear I/O, we've got a BIOS flash button. Very nice thing to have. A nice feature, especially on this kind of price board. You don't really see those on the more premium ones. So great job MSI installing that on this kind of board. Got an HDMI display port, so if you're going to use an 8000 series processor, or if you've done a BIOS update with the nifty button, then you can easily use those there. Also great for troubleshooting if you've got one of those processors too. We've got a 2.5 gig LAN port. This is a Realtek controller. We've got 3 of the red ports. These are USB 3.2 Gen 2, and these also are 10 gigabits per second. We've got a Type-C port, again 10 gigabits per second, so that'll be USB 3.2 Gen 2. The 4 blue USB ports, these are USB 3.2 Gen 1, so 5 gigabits. We've got our Wi-Fi 6E antenna points, and also some basic audio. I'm very surprised with the quality of this board for £140. This was the kind of price that I paid back in 2010 for my motherboard. I think it was about £150 at the time. And the features on this are miles apart from what I got on mine. X58 Sabertooth, for anyone's wondering. And it's great to see that there are affordable boards. When these B series boards first came out, they were hundreds of pounds, and to get one for less than 140 I think is really nice. So it's going to be great to use this in my AP201 build. I'm going to keep the rest of the specs as a little bit of a secret for now, but it's certainly going to be an affordable board with some other higher end parts, so I'll leave it there for that little teaser. But any more questions, do leave it in the comments box below and I'll get back to you. Links will be in the description for this. Again, big thank you to Scam for sending this out for me to look at. I will be doing some stuff for this soon, so get subscribed and ding the bell so you don't miss that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.